What's going on, guys? Welcome to In the Zone. I'm your host, Garrison Roy, and today we're going to go into a little bit of a mental minute. And if you're new to the podcast, you can probably see a few other different titles of the podcast where there's rants, there's full-length interviews with either coaches, experts, or athletes to help them or even communicate what helps them get in the zone. Obviously, this mental minute will be more on the mental side of getting in the zone, but there's other ways to get in the zone, right? There's the skill acquisition side of throwing in the zone or hitting pitches in the zone, right? Doing things within a specific skill set that you're really, really good at. And most of it is, of course, is pertaining to baseball, right? We also do deep dive educational explanations to the small little intricacies of those particular spots or zones within that to help you become either the best player or the best coach that you want to be, right? And I want to hear what you guys want to learn about, right? So please reach out in the zone podcast 123@gmail.com. And I think I just recently updated a thing where you can text, not specifically my personal number, but it's a text message that you can send to the platform that I use to get all these podcasts out. So feel free to hit that up. I want to hear from you guys and see what you guys want or what you actually like about some of these episodes. And again, I'm not doing ads or paid ads or sponsorships to monetize the show because I just believe in the overall value exchange. And the mission of this entire podcast is just to grow the game and grow yourselves within the game to anyone who joins in on this. And I want to help assist you in your journey through the game, right? And help you stay in your zone. But for today, I want to talk about the warrior within, right? And not sure if you guys can see this. I had a Facebook post go out not too long ago. This was the original one was 2016, so 8 years ago, which is kind of wild. But if you see this, it's me with a little bit of a suit with the full armor of God on there, right? Dude, that was probably back whenever I was 4 or 5. So early 2000s, maybe in the 99, 98, 99, somewhere around there. It's very, very early on, right? Um, but I always identified myself of being a warrior. And I hope that you guys listening do that as well, regardless of whatever position you're in, right? And this does have a little bit more of a spiritual component to this. So whether you relate to it or not, totally up to you. But again, the full armor of God, you go through, and the scripture talks about having the breastplate of righteousness, feet shod with gospel of peace, shield of faith, sword of the spirit, all that good stuff, right? And not to try to get all biblical on there, but those things do help you equip. But as far as us right now, we don't necessarily have to wear that equipment unless you're in the military, you're having to go out, or maybe you're, in the Secret Service trying to protect some people from assassinations. I don't know. But aside from that, there are certain attributes that are going to help you become the best warrior within, either as a player, best warrior as a coach, as a business owner, for whatever you're trying to do to help grow yourself within the game. And I'm going to go over those attributes here in a minute, and I want you to write these down. And if you're listening to this, driving, please don't text and drive, but maybe just make a mental note of these or go back and listen to this and write these down later on, because I want you guys to rate yourself on these attributes. Okay. So we have the first one, which is belief, right? That's just believing in yourself, believing in what you can do. And hey, can I actually go step up to the plate and knock this ball out of the park? Can I actually throw 95 plus or, be able to dominate hitters with whatever skill set that I have, right? That's a general belief in you. For me, I always had that, maybe it was a delusional belief, but I just knew, hey, I'm going to go try and be a professional baseball player. Try may not be the best word there. I was really all in on it. And that's kind of where it starts. If you don't believe that, the chances of you even getting to that are very, 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 very slim, right? And again, I mentioned it as a delusional quality because there were certain aspects where it's like, hey, like very little people actually get to this, and you're competing with a lot of different guys. I had an edge of being left-handed pitcher, left-handed hitter, right? Playing first. And with that belief, a lot of guys can have that belief. A lot of people wish on those things, right? But the belief is actually putting in the work. So that's the second one, is the work, right? If you don't put in the hours of work, if you don't put in all the skill, all the training, all the really just grind of that, you're kind of kidding yourself, right? That's where it becomes more of a wishful thinking versus an actual belief if the work doesn't back up what you are believing to have happen, right? So you have those. As a coach, and I'm going to kind of flip this a little bit as well, you have to put in the hours of coaching. It's just part of it. Whenever I first started out, doing a performance coach or skill and, strength coach, I was an intern. For a little while, I had to learn certain exercises, learn how to have hard skills, soft skills within that, learn how to program, right? All those things you have to put in that work before you can start charging people online to do a program. And it's not just a copy and paste thing that you're going to, make from whatever you got from your other coach that was more specific to you. You got to learn how to do those things, right? So that's 2, right? Regardless of coach or player, that's where you're at. 3 is the perspective, right? So kind of just getting a little bit more into perspective, maybe in general, right? And so that's kind of going back to that whole belief portion is, hey, where are you at right now as an athlete? Are you top of your high school team? Are you top of your travel ball team within the state or within the region? Or are you on a national team, right? And there's so many different showcases and things out there we can go and find out, hey, like, how do I stack up with people in my 60 time? How do I stack up with guys within, how hard I'm throwing, how hard my stuff is, my batting average, a lot of those data points that you can kind of, again, kind of nitpick, and some of those may be a little overrated, like an ERA or overall batting average, maybe the slugging percentage or something along those lines could be something that you could hold to a higher ability. But, right, you got to find out where you're at. If you're saying, hey, I'm going to go play professional baseball, but you're 18 years old and you throw 80 miles an hour, you're a senior in high school, hate to break it to you, buddy, you got to get some perspective, right? You got to figure out, hey, there's a lot more that's going on. And even if you are that dude, maybe you are throwing 94, 95, you have good stuff, right? You had decent numbers. Maybe you were dealing with a little bit of injuries in the past, and you're like, hey, I want to go play affiliate ball, but you didn't have enough innings in the past to actually prove what you can do. Well, you got to kind of swallow your pride a little bit, maybe go play some independent ball before you go into affiliated ball. Prove yourself, right? And that's just a little bit more perspective. Or even like, hey, I may be really good, I may not be great, I may not be the top of the draft stock, but hey, I want a chance. I want to get that free agent deal, right? And that just gives you a little bit more perspective on the teams and what their needs are for where you would grow into being into a certain position. And maybe that's just the point in time. Maybe they don't need a righty that's throwing 92, 94 starter. Maybe they're looking for a flamethrower that throws 100 that has disgusting stuff, right? Like, you kind of have to shift your perspective a little bit with that as well. Or even as a coach, maybe you could be a great coach, but you also got to realize, hey, there's a lot of other coaches out there that are training athletes. Whether or not they're actually doing things right is besides the point. You have competition, just like you would have competition as a player. So you have to make sure that you're going to be the best of the best out there with all that you have, and have that mindset, right? So mindset's 4. Mindset. Know in deep down that you are going to be the best of the best, regardless of whatever you do. Having that spearhead, no matter what happens, no matter, hey, if I take a volunteer position, or hey, I'm going to, be riding the bench a little bit for a while. Guess what? You still are going to have that killer mindset, regardless, where you're just going to go out there and defeat the guy, whether you're that guy or maybe you're the 4-hole. If your mindset sucks and you're going in and you're like, oh, Your self-talk is really bad. You're like, oh, maybe I'll get a hit here. No, I'm gonna try not to strike out. I don't know. Let's see what happens. You're gonna get ran over, dude. You are gonna get absolutely obliterated. They're gonna K you up every time and make you look absolutely stupid. Right? So you got to have the right mindset, and that's why we're doing this mental minute right here today. Right? So that's the fourth one. Fifth one is the skill set, right? Your abilities. And I kind of alluded to this before of like trying to find out where your perspective or where you stack up with others around you. But do you have the skills? Do you have the ability to actually do what you say you do? Have you put in the work? Do you have a good off-speed pitch? Or maybe as a coach, hey, can you program guys? Are you just copy and pasting stuff that you saw off of Driveline's programs? Or, just kind of throwing a name out there. It could be any program, insert any name. Are you able to actually go in and read a TrackerMan report? Are you able to have some of the soft skills of learning how to even communicate to a player? You might be a super knowledgeable guy, but how can you relate that to a practical application to an athlete? Right? That's another type of skill set for a coach, hard versus soft skill, right? For the players, I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand of being a good teammate and also being a good player. You can be awesome at the plate or awesome on the field, but be an absolutely crappy teammate, right? Not being able to communicate with guys. You're all in on just yourself. I see that way too much with this travel ball industry and guys getting into NIL deals. At the end of the day, a lot of these professional orgs are going to want a team player, a warrior who's going to stick it out, and not just someone who's going to throw up a crazy amount of numbers and not give a crap about the next guy right beside him. Being a warrior means that you're going to war. It means that you're going to battle with anyone next to you, whether it's your coach, whether it's your teammate, whether it's your significant other, right? That's what it means to be a warrior, regardless of whatever you're going through, right? So that's the fifth one is skill set. And the last one is discipline, right? This is, again, everybody uses the word discipline, but it's the daily work that you do every single day, knowing that you're going to do it even when you don't feel like it, right? Everybody can be super motivated and get all rah, right, right after they go to a new, like, maybe camp or something like that, or they go to a training facility like, oh yeah, sweet, I just got a new program, yeah, let's do this thing. But can you actually carry out that discipline even for the days where it's raining outside? It sucks. Like, okay, hey, how do I still get some throwing in? Well, I could probably do some sock throws, or hey, I can go indoors to a facility or throw some plyos up against the wall in a parking garage. You're still going to get the work in regardless, right? That's discipline. Even having discipline to where, and I like this definition, even when no one's looking. If you just have the discipline whenever your coach is around, when you're on the field, when your coaches are watching you, and you're disciplined in doing the work then, but let's say you're not there, the coaches aren't there, there's a player-led practice, and you're just kind of messing around. That's not a warrior mentality. It's not going to work. It's not going to allow you to be the best of the best and help you get to that goal that you believe deep down that you know that you can do. Right? So I kind of wanted to use this analogy. I know it's kind of more common to see are these, these drones flying around now, right? Like imagine, regardless if you're coach or maybe, no one was in the stands watching you, it was just you on a field, but the drone was following you around everywhere that you went, right? How proud would your parents be? Would your girlfriend or wife or, whoever it is that you're looking into, how proud would they be if that drone was just following you around and they were able to see the highlight clips of what you do every day, right? It was like, oh, Jimmy's just barely going through his warm up and he skipped the last 2 sets of whatever he was doing for throwing, for plyos. He totally skipped the last thing for the lift too, right? Like you kind of have to have that kind of mindset. And I was also, again, early in my career, I've talked about this in a previous episode, where I had this delusional quality that there was a scout in the stands every single day at practice, at every single game, even when hardly anyone was there. I was like, someone here knows someone And that was partially right. Like I had, Berg Dod scouts of some of my coaches and things like that. So I was like, okay, hey, that guy knows someone. So if I stop hustling, if I stop putting in the work, they're going to know about it. And that's going to be a bad image and reflection on me. I don't want to be known as that guy. I want to be the guy who busts balls, ready to rock and roll, right? And I got the hustler award in high school for that because I sprinted everywhere I went. I didn't care. I was like, dude, you need to slow down. You need to calm down and just relax. Part of that was probably true. I was a little too uptight, but having the mindset of, hey, I'm hustling, I'm going, I'm ready to rock and roll, I'm here, I'm available, because the best ability is availability. That is what's going to separate you more than anything else. And on the coach's side, I think that this discipline is more, if you're going to hold your players to a certain level, you also have to be willing to hold yourself accountable to that same level, whether you're expecting them to go work out all the time or, 5 days a week. Are you even doing that? If you're not doing that, then you can't bark at these kids for not going to do it themselves. Right? Just point blank. Hey, if you're not taking care of your sleep, if you're going around and slamming drinks back with all the other coaches and things like that, again, there's a place and time for that. But if you're doing that and you expect to be the prime time, ready to be locked in, calling pitches or ready to throw BP or whatever it might be for the game the next day, and you're getting ready to go into a regional or super regional game, good luck, buddy. You might be able to get away with it or 1 or 2 games, but in the long run, that's going to catch up with you really, really fast. Right? So having that discipline, and again, I wanted you guys to write all these down. So here it is again: belief, work, perspective, mindset, skill set, and discipline. Rank those and where you're at right now, scale 1 to 10. And if you're a 10 on some of these, that just tells you're telling yourself that you have no room for improvement. So be honest with yourself. I personally did some of these and my total score was about a 41. Okay. And again, this is just me trying to self-improve on myself, on my belief, on my work ethic that I put in, the perspective that I have on myself and where I'm at currently, the mindset, the skill set that I have, the discipline that I have. Right. So with all this being said, I know this is a little longer mental minute, but I really wanted to get this across. And it may be just honestly for me, but if you guys get anything out of this, I think this is going to be an absolute game changer when you take that warrior mindset to everything that you come across. And you can apply this even to anything else outside of baseball. You can apply this to another job. You can apply this to, your home life, whatever else you want to apply this to. I think it fits. You could just do this as in general or compartmentalize as, hey, home, family, work, playing time, or, career, whatever way you want to spin it. This is just a great tool that I've been starting to use to help kind of self-evaluate and check myself, because the best leaders know how to lead themselves. As a player, you got to know how to lead yourselves before the other guys on the team will follow you. If you can't lead yourself, you can't expect anyone to follow you or even listen to you when you speak up. Same goes for you as a coach. If you can't lead yourself, no player is ever going to even give you the time of day. But that's it for this mental minute. For those of you listening, stay in the zone.